Masters table. Masters table.
Master elements.
Masters table. Masters table.
Racism, white supremacy is a dynamic system for the ultimate purpose of white genetic survival on the planet. White supremacy.
You are in an evil system, a system that is designed deliberately to produce evil thoughts, to produce animosity, to produce violence.
Introduction to African civilizations and man-garden civilization.
Masters table. Masters table.
Master elements.
Masters table. Masters table.
Master elements.
To dedicate lives to the study of history.
They didn't tell us that if you give up the man, you're going to take one of these things and it's worse and it will destroy your nation.
The right way is clearly distinct from error.
Racism is a competitive relationship between groups of people who are competing for the ownership and control of resources, wealth, and power.
Masters table.
It's the Ticket Plug. We've been running an online ticket business for over a decade, and now we've created an easy way for you to do the same thing through our private ticket resale community. Joining our community will give you a way to flip your bread and generate profit income consistently. We provide you with all the tools, training, and resources needed to start your life-changing online ticket business. Zero experience needed. To join our ticket resale community, go to thetickettrap.com. Again, go to thetickettrap.com. That's thetickettrap.com.
And those Africans have to be organized to fight for their liberation.
GW Apparel, a clothing that speaks. Something for the kings, something for the queens. Visit uptsites.com and use promo code SLDG22 and receive 11% off your order. Peace.
Yeah, like that. Let's see what's in the God's mind. Listen.
Lie in the person of Sincere to God.
You already know. Peace, family. What's good? Welcome to another episode of Sincere Love the Godcast. I am the God Sincere Love, and I am here with my lovely co-host, Nicety Girl. What's going on, everybody?
What's good? Happy Wednesday. Happy Wednesday, y'all. It's a cool down here in LA. What else is going on? I had an amazing time at the Hidden History Museum last Saturday. My family came down from Dallas, Texas, for the weekend. So I hung with family. I had a good time. They just left on Monday. And so I'm kind of catching up on some rest, to be honest.
Okay. Turn up queen over here.
Oh, man, I'll be trying.
Still having a hot girl summer, going into the fall.
Yeah, I mean, well, we have a cool down, but this weekend is jumping back up to 100 degrees. So,
Oh, damn.
yeah.
Damn.
Damn. Yeah. But
Well,
otherwise,
as y'all know, family, as y'all know, today is Wednesday. So this is the Black Business Showcase. We got another special guest coming through for y'all in just a second. My brother Omar is actually in the chat. Omar, click the link in the chat. I dropped the link in the chat. You see the StreamYard link that's in the chat. That will bring you backstage so we could get you up here with us. You are currently in the audience. you in the listening audience right now. But click the link that I dropped in the chat, and that will bring you backstage, and we could go ahead and get this thing going. But as y'all know, like I said, this is the Black Business Showcase. And so we getting ready to get this thing started in just a minute. But in the meantime, as you're coming up in here, I need everybody to click that like button. When you click the like button, that helps to boost our video into the YouTube algorithm, because y'all know YouTube be hating on us over here.
All the time.
So we need y'all to hit that like button. Share this out on your social media platforms. Tell folks that we are live right now with another episode of the Black Business Showcase. We got a dope author coming to the set tonight. The Godfather of urban fiction, our brother Omar Tyree, is about to pull up on us in just a second. So share this out. If you're not already subscribed to us on YouTube, make sure you hit the subscribe button as well as the notification bell so you can be reminded whenever we go live with new episodes of Sincere Love the Godcast. This is the Black Business Showcase that we do on a weekly basis, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on Wednesdays, 6 p.m. Pacific Time, where we bring on business owners, entrepreneurs, inventors, sometimes politicians, all different type of esteemed guests that we have on this series here to chop up game about all the different industries and let people know what Black businesses and entrepreneurs are out there that we need to be supporting.
And tonight is actually the rewind with our brother Omar Tyree.
Right.
This is a kind of redo. We had a broadcast with them, which was going great, but the internet demons, were interfering. But he was traveling at the time, and he was at a hotel. He did his best, so he agreed to come back so we can actually chop it up for real, and get all up in his Black business. So appreciate him coming back.
Absolutely. Type something in the chat. Brother Omar, if you're still in the audience, type something in the chat and I could just reply to you with the link if you don't see the link. Because I don't know which side you're on. I don't know if you're watching from the Godcast channel or from the other YouTube channel on Sincere Love the God side.
He's emailing as well, so I'm going to email him the link too.
Okay.
He's emailing, so let me do that.
Okay. Yes, indeed. And so also y'all know we broadcast live on Sundays around 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 3 p.m. Pacific Time, where we cover weekly current events and important issues as they pertain to what's going on in Black society. So you definitely want to tune in for that as well. Make sure you catch the replay from last week. I did a reaction to the interview with Jill Stein on the Breakfast Club. With Angela Rye and with lettuce and tomatoes on the side up there running interference for the Democrats. Y'all go check that out. That was a good broadcast, even though it got cut a little bit short from what I wanted to, cover more from the interview. But, I couldn't play that much of the content on YouTube. So I had to cut it a little bit short, but it still was a good broadcast. Y'all go check that out. Go check out all the replays. If you're not caught up on the Black Business Showcase, we've had a good guest on the Black Business Showcase. Last week we talked with our brother, filmmaker. I'm losing his name right now. Making the Powernomics film. What's my brother's name?
Justin Irvin.
Yeah. Creator of the new Powernomics film that's coming out about our brother Dr. Claude Anderson. So that was last week's episode. Yeah. So y'all make sure y'all go ahead and get caught up on that as well. All right. And so we're going to go ahead and get started with today's episode. Let me let y'all know a little bit about our guest tonight. So like I said, the Godfather of 1990s urban fiction returns. Omar Tyree, a celebrated and award-winning author, journalist, lecturer, poet, screenwriter, songwriter, and filmmaker from Philadelphia, was the youngest star of the 1990s Black literature movement. A New York Times bestseller, an NAACP Image Award winner, and a Phyllis Wheatley Literary Prize recipient for his body of work as the proclaimed Godfather of urban fiction. Tyree now discusses the state of Black writing, his own career, and his outlook for the future. Fresh off the HBCU campus of Howard University, after completing his first 2 undergrad years at the University of Pittsburgh, Tyree exploded on the literary scene in October of 1992. His literary work caught fire and eventually inspired millions of new readers and thousands of new writers with classic urban fiction that include Fly Girl, A Do Right Man, Single Mom, Sweet St. Louis, For the Love of Money, Just Say No, Leslie, Diary of a Groupie, What They Want, The Last Street Novel, and The Pecking Order, along with Capital City, College Boy, One Crazy Night, and Cold Blooded in his Urban Griot series. Tyree has also published works of nonfiction, children and young adult, poetry, business, international thrillers, short stories, and autobiographies, including Mayor for Life, the incredible story of Marion Barry Jr., the embattled late mayor of Washington, D.C. And he is here with us tonight. Y'all could have been anywhere in the world, but y'all here with us. And so without further ado, I'd like to introduce to you our guest for this evening, Brother Omar Tyree. Welcome back to the Godcast, King.
Peace.
Yeah, hopefully y'all can hear me good this time. Let's check out the audio. Y'all good with the audio?
We're good. We're good.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
So far, so good.
I still don't look as good as y'all look, so I still got to get a new camera for this computer thing. Y'all look like y'all got live cameras, and I look like I'm on a computer.
Yeah. You got to get a little ring light or something. Throw a little ring light on there, man. You don't got to get nothing special.
I got all the light in the world in this. I got to put a light right in my face then. Huh?
Yeah.
Yeah, but yeah, this new technology is something else, man. Because I had the link on my phone, but I didn't want to go to the phone because we had problems with the phone last time. So I wanted to put it on my computer, and then I had to get it on the computer. So I had to send it to my computer to get on the computer for the StreamYard on the computer. But the phone is probably more clear than the computer is. This is like a computer I use to write. I don't do a whole lot of extra stuff that everybody else do on their computer. It's like a storage facility.
It's all good. We here. We on time. You know, everybody's audio is good. Everybody's video is good. So we ready to rock and roll, man. And shout out to Mama Love in the building. Mama Love says she read quite a few of your books.
Yeah, I see that. Thank you, Mama Love. 56, 58. That's 58. Yeah, thank you. Can I respond to that? Y'all respond to that. Not just then y'all tell me that's how it works because I seen her pop up on the screen. But
if you see something you want to respond to, yeah, feel free.
So I just say it or I type something. How does it work?
You can say it or type it.
Okay. They listening. They listening. They can hear you. Okay. They can hear you. If you see a comment that catches your attention, yeah, you can respond in real time.
Yeah. I feel like a dinosaur, boy. All the new technology. Yeah,
man. So Godfather of 90s urban fiction. We started to get a little bit into the origin story last time, but the audio was a little janky and stuff like that. So take us back, man. Let people know who are not familiar with you, who you are, how you got started.
The city of Philadelphia, man, is like the Eagles lost Monday night.
But to Atlanta, where I'm at.
Yeah, y'all were supposed to lose that game, man. Everybody knew that. But you know, the city is very crowded. It's set up like a maze where we got all these blocks and all these houses right next to each other. So the city, it forces you to be communal. You're always aware of other people because there ain't no other way in Philadelphia. You are always aware of everybody. And with row houses, people are connected to your walls like a hotel. So you can hear if anything going on either side of your house, you can hear them because we got what they call row houses in most of the city. So with that, you know, I was a young dude coming up that had a lot of stories right in front of me. My mother was the oldest of 8, and my father was the oldest of 4, both in West Philly. And when I came up in the baby boom era, I had a lot of aunts and uncles and older people that I was always around because mom had to go to work and she just dropped me off at grandma's with everybody else. And so I was there every day with stuff I wasn't supposed to be around if my mom and pop had me in a regular house where it's a nuclear family instead of extended family. But I grew up in an extended family until like 9 years old when mom got married. And then I moved to this area called Mount Airy. And that's where the Fly Girl story came from. I'm really a West Philadelphian who moved to Mount Airy. And so when I moved to Mount Airy, it was like the Jefferson show. Well, we moving on up. We got grass, we got trees, we got a twin house. So I'm only connected to one house instead of the whole block. and then we got grass and trees, and it's beautiful. And all them black people that moved up to Mount Airy when the 80s came, we was the flyest neighborhood in Philadelphia. We had all the jewelry, we had all the hairstyles, the waves, the fancy Zelle glasses and gold and pocketbooks and sneakers and clothing and all the stuff. And so I was like, yo, and guys were coming from all over Philadelphia to talk to the fly girls. And Uptown, they call it now, but it used to be just Mount Airy, West Oak Lane, and Germantown. Now they call it Uptown. And one of my dudes, Manny Roz, we had a record out, we put out in the 2000s, where he was one of the first ones to call it Uptown, you know, because it's like the northern uptown part of Philadelphia, right before you get out of Philadelphia, because all three of them neighborhoods is right on the edge of leaving Philadelphia, but we still in the city. And so that was where I got a whole lot of the storytelling from, being around a family that was in the movies and storytelling. People were all the time. And then I just picked up on all the stuff that was going on around me with all the slang and all the psychology and all the verbiage and all the details. And that was just something that I had early on. And then I cultivated it once I got to the college level. But I always had it. So it was just using it and not losing it. Yep, that's my story.
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. And how big of a influence was hip hop culture on your approach to writing?
It wasn't a influence on the writing, but it was part of the culture. You know what I mean? So, because you telling stories without hip hop, I didn't need hip hop to tell stories. We had regular movies, and we grew up on funk music. You know, hip hop kind of elevated from funk and disco. You know, we had this daggone show called Dance Fever that we used to always watch in the 70s, Dance Fever. And it was all disco music. And then funk was right behind it. And then they started DJing with the scratching and cutting. And then the New York dude started rapping over the records. And then it became the rap thing. But in Philadelphia, we didn't call it hip hop. We just called it rap. Because we was in the funk and we was in the DJing and all that. It was the New Yorkers calling it hip hop, you know, the whole KRS-One thing. This is hip hop music, you know. The Philadelphians like, yo, it's rap music, man. We ain't into the break dancing and all that other stuff that the New Yorkers are in, but we were into the records. So it didn't have an influence on my writing. But if I'm going to write about Black people in the 80s, it's going to be in there because that's what we did and that's what we listened to. But it didn't have an impact on me writing. You know what I mean? It's like it was two separate things. Stories are stories. I could write about football. I could write about parties. I could write about movies. I could write about the park. Hip hop wasn't like an influence in that way. You know, so I know a lot of people give hip hop the credit for everything, but I can't give it the credit for my writing. It was just a part of the culture that I was writing from. But I could write about football. I could write about fights. It ain't got nothing to do with hip hop. Philadelphia was always fighting. That we grew up with. We just loved doing that. So that ain't got nothing to do with hip hop. That's all Philadelphia.
Nice. Can you tell us about your journey from writing Fly Girl to becoming a renowned author?
Well, you know, the Fly Girl still dominates everything because women do most of the reading of fiction. Now, brothers will read some nonfiction and skip through the chapters to see what they want to skip over and what they don't want to read and what they do want to read. That's what they do with nonfiction. But when you're reading fiction, it's all women. So really, I've written a lot of great books. Y'all named a lot of great books. And now I'm setting up a program called the Urban Studies of Omar Tyree. We're going to start pushing at the colleges. Just like you say African-American studies and social studies, we're going to have the urban studies of Omar Tyree, because when you start listing all the books I've written and what the topics were about, I've written more books than anybody out here about various topics that affect our Black community. And so now I want to start a whole urban studies and get past just being an urban writer. I want to have a whole course called Urban Studies because I wrote about every daggone issue, you know, in Black America since 1992. Every single book dealt with a different issue. I never did, even the Fly Girl series. Each book is something different from her life and what she's doing. And the voice that tells the story is not the same thing. For the Love of Money is different from Fly Girl. Boss Lady is different from the other two. So I've been doing a lot of work that people really haven't been recognizing. But now we're going to start putting that together, the Urban Studies of Omar Tyree, and we want that established in all the colleges. It may take about 5 years, but I'm starting to work on that now. And you heard that said right here on y'all show, the urban studies, just like social
The,
studies.
the
Yeah,
urban studies of Omar Tyree. That's interesting. And so
It really is.
flesh that out a little bit more for us. Like, are you saying you want people to study your literature or use your literature to
yup,
study broader
yeah.
social issues?
Everything. If you name it, and now this book I just got out, we dealing with mental health and interpersonal relationships. What everybody's talking about, control was all about that. Because when you don't control what you want to control, you're gonna have a mental health issue. And that's what it is. A lot of mental health people that can't control the emotions, can't control the anxiety, can't control the tempers, can't control whatever it is, they can't control it. That's why it's a mental health issue. And that's why you have problems with your relationships, because you can't control what you need to control. And that spills off to the other person and they don't want to deal with you now. And so most homeless people, right? And I had homeless people in my family. They off a little bit and you can't deal with them. So you say, all right, just go out in the street, do what you're going to do. And they like, all right, cool. I'm going to do me. And they winding around out in the street. You know, now you got some people that can't afford housing and whatnot, but a lot of times they got family members, but it be people that's out of control with mental health issues. And I know it because I got them in my family where it's like you can't keep them in the house because they're going to steal or break something. And you're like, all right, man, look, I don't know what to do with you because something is loose there. We got to let you go, you know?
That's
So,
right.
yeah, that's the newest book. But every book I've written deals with a specific issue. Fly Girl was about urban materialism. Don't ever get it twisted. When we was running around wearing them gigantic earrings and looking like Mr. T, we was spending up every dollar we could get in the urban community. And that was wrong. We should have been saving for college and other stuff. But we were spending everything on all these brand names, Gucci, Le Tigre, Azad, Polo. We did all that stuff in the 80s. So don't get it twisted. It's a love story, but it's a love story based in materialism of the urban 80s.
Got it. Now I asked you about the influence of hip hop, but also with the title that you have, the Godfather of urban fiction. I think it kind of specifies the 1990s, but I wonder if you were influenced by people like damn, my brain is freezing up today. There you go.
Yeah.
That's exactly, you know where I'm
That's
going.
the
You know where I'm going. Donald Goines, Iceberg
all them
Slim,
guys.
all of those
Yeah.
people. How about
Yeah, I've
that
got them.
influence?
When I put out Capital City, which is the capital, DC was called the murder capital. So that book is about drugs and homicide, right? So that's different topic. When I was in DC at Howard, I went to Howard from 89 to 91, and then I stayed in the area working in DC for the newspapers from 92 to 95. So during that era, you know, they had a brother named Rayful Edmonds who went to jail, who was the kingpin of the streets in 89. He went to jail in 89. And when he went to jail, every brother in DC that wanted the territory went crazy. And they started killing and shooting each other. But if you wasn't selling drugs and you wasn't out there like that, they didn't bother you. They wasn't concerned about you. So DC was the murder capital only for people trying to get money in that fast lifestyle. And a whole lot of them lost their lives because them brothers was not playing in DC. If I catch you on my shorty or my quarter young, shorty or Joe, I'm going to kill you. And I picked up all the language that they used down there and wrote that book. And I gave a shout out to all the legends in that book. You know, Chester Himes, Donald Goines, Richard Wright, Ralph Ellison, you know what I mean? All of them. So definitely, I read all of them. I know all their work. And yeah, they the downs. Yeah, no question about it.
Wow.
Absolutely.
How do you stay motivated and inspired to keep writing? What inspires you to keep going? Because you've written so many books, you know, over since the 90s. What keeps you inspired?
I was thinking about that, and reality is I may have written too many books too fast. And what I mean by that, Sister Soldier would write a book every 3 to 5 years and allow you a chance to read each book and anticipate the next one. I put out a book every year for 15 years. And what happened for me was people say, oh, I didn't read that one yet. Oh, I didn't. By the time they catch up, they 4 books behind. And so then they were like, well, I ain't going to read that one. So a lot of my books got lost in the shuffle of me hustling and writing so hard and so fast. So now I was just thinking today, When I start this up again with more international books now, maybe I need to write every other year or every 2 years on purpose because they couldn't keep up with me. And so now you got a lot of people listening that haven't read 5 of my books, and I got 30 of them. And then they start assuming that they're not good, and they are. You ain't read them yet. And so they end up stuck on Fly Girl because I overloaded them, overrode them. I just couldn't keep up with me. And so I just started at like, damn, maybe I should have written more like 15 books and they could have kept up with me instead of writing 30 where they couldn't keep up. Yeah.
So yeah, the question I was going to have was about your process. So did you develop a process that made it more efficient to be able to put out so many books in a short amount of time? What's your process like to get these books completed?
I'm just fast, period. Fast and anal. When I lock into it, I'm locked into it. Like I used to hear people say, you know, I write 6 hours a day or 4 hours a day. And every time I heard that, I'm like, what if you don't feel like writing that day? Or what if you feel like you got 10 hours in you? You only gonna write 6 hours and stop? If you don't feel like writing, you're gonna force yourself to sit there. Because I'm, so I'm more of a passion writer. When I'm feeling it, I'm gonna write. And I'm an early morning dude, so I can get up 5 o'clock in the morning and write all day, and it'd be 12 hours. So that whole 6 hour thing, I hear people say, Walter Mosley was saying that, and I was like, oh, he's more of a systematic writer. I'm a passion writer. I've been saying that for years. When the passion hits me, I'm going to finish what I got to finish in 2 to 4 months. So I have never written a book. The only book it took me longer than that, Marion Barry's book, because I had to get the information from him, and it took us 11 months because he was going through dialysis with kidney issues at the time, and he kept getting tired in the middle of our interviews. And so I'd be starting the interview, and after 5 minutes, he's like, Omar, you're going to have to come back tomorrow. I'm a little tired. I got to take my dialysis, my medicine. And I'm like, God daggone it, we just got 5 minutes, and I got to come back the next. So that was torture, man. But I finally got it done with Marion Barry, and that was a real special situation. I'm sitting with the most important man in the nation's capital at DC, and we sit there night after night after night for 11 months to get his book told. You know what I mean? So that was a phenomenal thing, but it was torturous. Yeah. It was torturous to get it done.
Yeah, that's awesome. I definitely want to ask you about that when I seen that in the bio too. Like, what made you want to do the biography about Marion Barry?
I can do anybody's
important. Why do you feel like his story was important though?
Well, I was in DC when he got snagged at the hotel. And we already knew in DC that they was trying to get him. It was no mystery. I'm not from DC, but when you go to Howard, everybody in the city talk about he gave me my first job. He gave me my first opportunity. He gave me housing. He helped us out with this. So unless something wrong with your ears, if you go to Howard, everybody in DC, they know what he's doing. So when it happened, everybody at Howard was like, they got him. So we was all like, we knew what it was. So when I got a chance later on, I told him, I said, dude, we knew that they was after you, man. And they set you up. That's why he had that famous, the chick set me up with. He didn't say the chick. It was horrible. But I got the inside story on it that's now in the book. But yeah, I said, look, man, I would love to write that book because we know what they did. And I was a newspaper writer anyway. So that's what a lot of people don't know. I was writing articles with him. I already wrote an article on him when he became like the council member of Ward 8. And Ward 8 is like the roughest southeast area of DC. And he was a daggone, representative of the roughest area of DC at the time. And I interviewed him back then. So I was already used to him. We already understood who he was. And I considered it an honor. And I told him, I said, I will protect your story for the rest of my life and make sure they get it right. And, that's what we're going to do. So people are fishing around about doing his story as a movie. And I got to sit on that and say, hey, don't do this. Make sure you do that. So I got to be right on top of that to make sure they do him justice and don't make it a sensational story where they get the facts wrong.
I agree with that. And there hasn't been another mayor of DC quite like him. The community, I don't think, has been quite the same, since his passing either. So, and I agree with you. They definitely set him up.
Yeah. Yeah. So I'd love to do that. But I got a lot of other stories I wanted to do. But if they're not ready to do it, and the publisher's not ready to pay for it, then you can end up writing a story that don't get published and you spend 11 months not getting paid or whatever, unless they want to pay for it. So it becomes hard. Like I got sports books I want to write right now, but them young athletes got to be ready to do that sports book. Like I would love to do Sha'Carri Richardson. I would love to do Angel Reese. I would love to do Noah Lyles. I would love to do Glorilla. I really love that girl talks her behind off. But if they not ready to do it, right? I can't force them to do it. You know what I mean? But I would love to write their stories while they the hottest right now. Because what people typically do, they wait until later on when they 30-something or 40-something, when their popularity is gone. Now they want to tell their story. Now they're not as hot as they was when they could have got all the media and all the press. Now it's like, you want to talk to her? Nobody feeling her now, you know. Then they want to write the story. And it's like, yo, man, you should have wrote that when you was in your prime. So I would love to write a lot of stories and work with a lot of young writers and, you know, celebrities and athletes and entertainers. But if they're not ready to do it, you can't force them.
I kind of get it though, because you know, you feel like, you know, the story is still being written. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like I remember Ice Cube talked about that a while back. I think they wanted to do like a life story on him. And he was like, you know, I got a lot more living to do before it's time to tell my story. So I kind of get that sentiment also, you know, when people are younger and still going through the process.
But Ice Cube was one of the most interesting members of the NWA. And he never told that story. So again, this is what I'm saying. As a storyteller, your stories are always changing. My story, if I had written it at 28, I had already done a lot at 28. So I can say that like, which was, because I do the same thing. Like, I'm going to wait till my story. But dude, I did a lot before 25. You know what I mean? Like when you were Philadelphia and a New Yorker and a DC dude, when you went to
in the 80s and the 90s,
man. And even now, I talk about young people. I think back to when I was 21. I was like, man, I was light years ahead of these young people. They like 21-year-old kids. Now they understand the internet. Yeah, they understand the internet. But as far as being outside and hustling and making stuff happen, and dude, I'm like, I'm way past where they were back then, dude. Like, you know what I mean?
Totally
like,
different.
wow. But on this technology stuff, they the bomb on that. Cause I'm trying to figure this stuff out, the algorithms and all that. I'm like, they got me on that, you know. But as far as 21 maturity, I put these kids to shame on how, you know, I was ready for it at 21, dude. They was like, you got an old soul. I like, yeah, because I grew up with old heads. I've been a young old head. You know, Fabulous got a record or an album called The Young OG. And as soon as I saw that daggone title, I was like, I get it. Because Fabulous came out as a young boy with old heads, and he always came off like an old head. Fabulous always had like old head stuff. We always respect him that way. But he was still a young boy. He was younger than us. But he came off like an old head. So when he came out with that album, Young OG, I was like, I get that. And Fabulous is one of my favorite dudes, you know what I mean, because of the maturity. But yeah, a lot of young boys now, you know, it's different.
Yeah, it's way different. It's way different. So, and today in 2024, what's your take on the state of Black writing now?
Well, it's still here. A lot of them are writing what they call fantasy fiction now. I see a whole lot of that. You know, when they talk about the different worlds, you know, Space Invaders and Powers and Marvel Comics. So that's really elevated. That is really elevated. Fantasy and, you know what I mean, that whole science fiction world is really elevated. The urban thing has calmed down a bit because we had a whole lot of people putting out urban books. And I was like, yo, we got other stuff going on now. We ain't all drug dealers and gold diggers now. Like we got, you know, so that it went through its phase. Now we coming out of that phase. So now it's going to be the new thing. What is the new thing? I'm starting to write more international books. I'm working on an Eagles book right now. They just played Green Bay and Brazil. And I'm working on that book right now because that was very interesting to me. And you get them two teams going to Brazil. And, you know, Brazil got a whole lot of people of color down there. So I was like, that's different there. You're going to Brazil. And so I'm working on that book right now. And I'm working on a book on the whole social media craze as well, because that's an interesting topic there where girls call it social, but they really just picking up numbers so they can get sponsors and all that. And it becomes an addictive vanity thing. Yeah, because guys can't get away with that. I can't put on, you know, 10 different swim trunks and show off my muscles on the whole damn. But you got girls, that's all they do. And you can't even comment on it because they don't want guys hollering at them and trying to pick them up. So the damn media or the Instagram says they don't have comments. So I'm like, you can't even comment on the daggone job. So they just collecting numbers. That ain't social at all. You know what I mean? So I'm working on that book too, man. And then I got
Put your Speedo on. Put your Speedo on and just post it.
It's called yeah, so women got a big advantage over men on that because naturally a woman's body is supposed to attract. And so it's crazy how we get to this point where women put on sexy stuff and then they get mad at us for looking. I'm like, are you crazy? Like, what you think a dude is supposed to do? Like, what the hell, you putting on, and then they talking about, well, I'm putting it on for me. This is stop it, man. Like, you don't even understand how this world is set up now. Your curves are set up to attract me from the bottom of the world. Like, what are you talking about? And so it just becomes crazy now, but they use it and then they act like they don't understand what they're doing. It's crazy, man. It's funny to me. So I'm working on that book right now, too. I'm not going to give y'all the title, though, until later because, people bite and steal titles all the time. So I'm not going to get a title, but I'm working on a social media book with the girl in the center of it. And I'm working on a football book with the Eagles and Packers. And then I got the black man's perspective because we about to elect a black woman president. And if she is office for 4 years, you got 4 years. How do you feel about this as a black man? And I'm like, we ain't got a choice because Donald Trump ain't getting back in there. Ain't no way in hell we can let that dude back in. We don't know what's going to happen to the country if that dude get back in. We need stability, and she can give us that stability. Yeah, we going to vote for her right now. I got my Jordan's going right in. Kamala Harris, a Howard University woman. Put your vote in right now, and then I'm going to comment on it being a black man with a black woman president in the United States of America. Oh, that is crazy to even think about it, but it's about to happen. I'm about to have my vote.
That's a Sunday topic. That's a Sunday topic. That's a Sunday topic. And so, go ahead.
Oh, go ahead. I was going to say, besides writing, you've ventured out obviously into other business projects. Can you share some insight about those?
Well, now I'm going back to book writing, man, because all them other projects, you know what I mean? Like, I've been running around in the wilderness 40 days and 40 nights like I'm in the Bible or something. And a lot of stuff ain't worked. The whole filmmaking, trying to do music. And I'm good at both of them, but if you don't get the money to push it the way you need to push it, it's like, yo, man, let me come back to the music with soundtracks. And I got to still keep pushing for films no matter how old I get. But right now, I got something that I know I can do and know I can get, and that's books. So right now, I'm like, no, I'm about to lock in. I'm working on a deal right now that I can't talk about till it gets done. But I'm about to lock in with the book trade. That don't mean I'm not going to have other projects that I try to do, but I'm going to lock in with the book thing where I'm putting out books every year. And it ain't going to be my books, but when you got your own imprint, you putting out whatever's hot that you put out and you put together. And I know so much about the book game now. It's time for that. But I'm working on that deal right now. It ain't happened yet, so I got to wait for it to happen. But that's where I'm headed because, I know too much about the book game to be sitting in a corner waiting for one book a year when I can help put out other books a year, every year. So that's what I'm looking at now.
All right. So I also know you got some workshop events coming up. You want to talk about that?
Yeah, well, workshop. I got an event up in let me see here. I think it's October the 17th in Newport News. I don't know what other workshop events you're talking about because I'm doing podcasts, but I don't know other workshops. What workshop you referring to?
I seen a flyer. I seen a flyer with you on it for coming up.
October 17th?
No, it was actually September 20th.
September 20th? Let me see. Let me see.
You gotta check your calendar.
That's tomorrow, ain't it?
That's Friday, yeah.
Yeah, I gotta check my calendar then. See what that is. See that? So you
guys got booked and busy. You booked and busy. Yeah. You can't even keep up.
Yeah, I gotta see what that is on the 20th. On a Friday. Yeah, I gotta see what that is. Yeah.
All right. And so you kind of already touched on some of the things that you got coming up in the future. I know you ain't want to give no titles away and stuff like that, but that was one of the questions going into 2025 after Control. What's going to be next? Anything else that you would like to share with the audience?
Well, no, for the most part, what I found out with the Control book, a lot of people are distracted where they can't even finish what they buy now. So I try to do 3 book club events with Control, and all 3 of them, not even half of the book members have read the book yet. So we had to postpone. And now I'm waiting on a New York group for November the 15th. I'm waiting on another group for, I think, the 28th. And we're going to go on the podcast. So I'm trying to set up with groups But now it's like social media and all the cable channels and streaming is so many things that can take your attention away that they'll buy a book and get excited and read the first 4 chapters and then can't even finish it. And so now I'm looking at books and saying, okay, I got to sell books with all my imprints and all the stuff I try to put out. I got to sell from the hype, because if you don't sell from the hype and they got to read it, it's dangerous right now, dude. So it's like I'm looking at, you got to sell from the hype, let them buy it like a coffee table book, and whenever they read it, they read it. But that's what I'm looking at now after going on tour for Control. So if you think about a book like Charlemagne the God, Get Honest or Die Lying, I'm gonna tell you right now, they may not read half the book. They might just flip through it. But they buy it off the hype because he rocked it. He really, but I already know how that's going to work. They buying it, but they going to read some of it and then put it down. And, so I understand what it is. So now I'm looking at that and saying, all right, you got to keep getting smarter as a businessman. So I can't get all wrapped up into who read it. I got to make sure that you hyped up enough to buy it and you read it whenever you read it. And so now I keep changing and adjusting to what the audience is showing me. Because I used to love talking about the book and they would all read it. They don't have time to read now, man. It's just a reality of all the distractions that we have.
Have you thought about doing any audiobooks and stuff like that?
Yeah, we got audiobooks. I got a closure on the audiobook today where they reading, but that's not reading, you listening. That's a listening skill. It's not reading. When you actually read sentences and letters and paragraphs and it means something, we don't understand how genius that is to read damn scribbles on a paper that create stuff in our head. We don't get it. Like, dude, that is genius stuff. But you rather listen to something than do that? Like, so you gotta wake up, man. Like, I listen to stuff too. But at the end of the day, being able to read it where you can underline it and highlight it and read it again with no electricity needed, no internet needed. All you need is light, sunlight to go outside. We got to stop wasting that skill, man. So you can do the audio books, but nothing replaces reading.
Yes, sir. All right. So let everybody know where they can shop with you at. We got the website up here.
Hot Live Entertainment.
HotLiveEntertainment.com.
Yeah, we want to get them to follow on Instagram. Only one, the number one, OmarTyree.com, because that's what I'm writing, that social media book. I done sold 3 million books, and I can't get 20,000 followers. Shit out of me.
Yeah. It's a different animal. It's a different beast.
Yeah, man, it's a different thing because I'm not going to be doing crazy stuff. I'm not out, you know what I mean? So now it got to be the books I put out with other people who are popular, because that's how it's going to work. It's like what they call it, validation. You're validated by other people that's popular, and then people follow you.
Influencer marketing.
I'm always going to be marketing. Yeah, influencers, you know what I mean? But them guys, they know they got power. So they can tell you yes or no based on what they want to do. It's a new game. And that's what I'm writing about right now. This girl got power and know it from pictures. You know what I mean? Like, it's unbelievable.
Yes, indeed.
Yep.
Yes, indeed. So the Instagram, one more time, throw it out there.
Only one, the number one, Omar Tyree on Instagram. Everything else is just Omar Tyree. Facebook, X, TikTok, LinkedIn, and then the Hot Live Entertainment you could always go to. But yeah, only one Omar Tyree on Instagram.
Yes, indeed. And HotLiveEntertainment.com is the website. And that's where the books are available. Are you on Amazon and stuff like that as well?
Oh, yeah, man. Them books been available forever. Amazon, Barnes & Nobles, wherever you order books, you pipe in the name and my name pops up with the books. You know what I mean? And Amazon actually sells all the books. If you like this book, you should like this. Amazon does. And I always consider that smart, because a lot of other websites would be like, well, I'm not promoting your other books. Amazon was like, if we selling one Omar book, why not sell all of them? Like, it don't, like, why would you not sell the rest of them? But other websites, that's free promotion for you. I'm like, look, if you can sell all of it, then it's free promotion for you trying to make your money. Like, I'll sell all Omar Tyree stuff. So that's what Amazon does. Whenever you pop in an Amazon book, they send you other books that are in cohesion with that or the same author, which is smart. Yeah, so
Have
my
you thought
books
about
going.
doing?
They've been on online for everywhere. Yeah, go ahead.
Have you thought about doing bundle deals? Since you mentioned a lot of people, some have read one or two of your books, but not all of them. Have you thought about doing some bundle deals maybe for the holidays so that people can get the collection, which will kind of make them read it?
Well, how would you do bundle deals? You going to like slash the price in half, or you two for the, what
Um,
would you do?
you just kind of like, obviously, if they're, say $20, right, and instead of them buying them for $20 each, you do 3 books for $50 or $55. People are gonna want to save $5 is a save. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So things like that. Do
Okay.
collections or different series. From your
Right.
first book, the first three or first four. Then the next set and the next set. That way they can kind of get them in bundles. That way
Yeah.
you're selling all of your books at one time.
Yeah, we got Fly Girl coming back out like that. That's the announcement. Next year it's coming back out with new cover design. So I wasn't going to unveil that because it has a whole year before it happened. Well, we're going to bundle those
Exclusive.
three. But the other books, that's a good idea to do. But here's the issue with that, right? When it's time for me to market and sell, since I don't have the social media numbers, even when you say that, oh, I got a bundle, if only 10,000 people are hearing it and only 1%, you know what I mean? So you're not really getting a chance to get everybody. And that's where marketing now is the most important thing for people to know what you're doing. If I could tell 10 million people that I'm bundling a package, now it means 10 million times more than 10,000. And so I tell people all the time when they come up with these great ideas, if nobody sees it, it doesn't matter how great it is. And that's the issue you have when you have a deficiency in your marketing because of the social media numbers not being there and you not being able to pay for it on terrestrial sites and terrestrial radio and terrestrial television. And so that's where the social media people have an advantage because they know they can get whatever, even if they don't have a product, they know that they can get whatever they doing to the people. And that's a new world that we in.
Yes, indeed. And before we close out, we got a question from Fed Up Publishing LLC in the chat. And I remember this clip went viral. I don't know if you saw it, but she wanted to know. I'm assuming this is a woman for some reason.
How
I
you
don't know
feel
why.
about Birdman talked down on books when he visited jail and inmate asked them to provide them with books? You talking about Bird? Yeah, I didn't see the joint. I saw her, that question. But I mean, Birdman is making money off of his music. And, when I've been around a lot of business people, they are strict about what they make money off of. And everything else is like, I don't care about that.
Yeah, let me give you the context because since you didn't see the clip, let me give you the context. So he was visiting a jail, and the guys in the jail were talking about things that they need, that they lacking in the prison. Right. You know what I'm saying? They were trying to talk about the poor conditions that they live in or whatever. And one of the guys said, "Yo, we need books. Like we don't even have access to books. We don't got no good books that we could read in here." And Birdman kind of was talking down on books, like books. You think books going to help you? Like what you need books for? You know what I'm saying? So that was kind of the context of the clip.
Yeah.
So,
well, again, as a business person who did his business without books, you know what I mean? You start beating your check because you did it a different way. So books don't have the same impact on you as it has on other people. And what I was saying was that with business people, however they make their money, they become entrenched in. Because I've been around a lot of business investors and they don't know nothing but real estate. And I'm like, well, why did you have a meeting with me where I put together 2 weeks of information for you to get involved in a film if you're going to tell me all you're going to do is real estate? And so a lot of business people are like that with tunnel vision, and they just know what their business is. And when they make a lot of money, they're entrenched in it. And so definitely he's made a lot of money in music, but he didn't jump around in movies. He didn't jump around in clothing. He didn't jump around. So the people that jump around like 50 Cent, you ask him, he jumped in the book game. He jumped in the film game. He jumped. So with 50 moving around, he's not going to have the same thought lines as Baby, who just had one thing he was doing. And so that's just how people are. When they locked in with tunnel vision, remember them horses that got the whole panels there? They don't see nothing but that track. And so that's what it is. You know what I mean? Like, that's why I try to get people to be more diversified in how they think about things. But that happens a lot. This is how I make my money. This is what I'm focused on.
Got you. That makes sense. All right. So as we get ready to wind this thing down, Nicety girl, you know how we do.
Yes, sir. So before we end the podcast, we like to ask you, what does freedom and power mean to you?
Well, freedom means that you can do what you need to do without being questioned about it, without being chained, without being held back, without feeling guilty. I'm free to do whatever I do. Even if I ruin my life, I'm free to do that. That's what freedom is. I ain't got no chains on me. I can do it if I want to do it. And then power is the ability to do it. Do I have the power to fly to the moon? Do I have the power to do this? Do I have the power to say that? Do I have the power to put out a book? Do I have the power to set up a concert, whatever? And a lot of power is now connected to capital, and it's always been connected to capital. The power means, do you have the money? Because ain't nobody listening if you won't have the money, because everybody got to eat, everybody got to drink, everybody wants to feel comfortable. And if you can do that for people, you have power. They're great. You can pay me. I'm doing whatever you ask me to do. When you don't have that, it becomes an issue. Now you got to become a great personality, because if you don't have power to pay them, then you got to make me do it. You got to sweet talk me into it. And so now you're dealing with people that they got to talk their way, and it doesn't work on a long scale like that. You're going to need capital. And so power, right now, you can't separate power from capital. Ain't no way around that. Freedom, you can break freedom with physicality. You can break freedom with speed. You can break the freedom with hookups. But power, that's a whole different, dude. Money is power. Like, there ain't no getting around that. Unless somebody want to correct me and show me another way where you got power, like a big muscle man. But a big muscle man, I still say, man, go pop him like he all the time. Immediately, dude. Like, money and power is interchangeable now. It's like a marriage. Them two things there. Let somebody else can come on the show and show me how you got power without money these days. Please inform me as an old wise man, because I don't see it. Yeah.
Got you. Yeah. So once again, man, appreciate you coming through to the Godcast. Much success to you on all of your endeavors. And thank you to everybody tuning in with us tonight. This has been another episode of the Black Business Showcase right here on Sincere Love the Godcast with our special guest, Omar Tyree, in the building. So y'all know how we do, man. Always remember, never forget, family, we are not the master teachers, but we are the master students and signal boosters for the voices of the new Black media. With that being said, we are out of here. Peace and Black love.
Peace.
Yeah, like that. Let's see what's in the God's mind. Listen.